origin of the Moors. Over some of it last week. Uh, the Moors are descendants from Moab, who is the grandson of Lot, who Lot is the nephew of Abraham.
I know Lot and Abraham.
Yes. So after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot went south, and he had a grandson, Moab. So we believe that we are descendants of Moab, just like the Arabs claim to be descendants of Ishmael, and you know, like it says in the Bible, the descendants of Noah shall populate the planet. We believe that there was two migrations, at least two major migrations of Moabites to the west. One of which was during after the death of Prophet Moses, when Joshua came into power. Moses died in the land of, I'm pretty sure he died in the land of Moab before they crossed the river Jordan.
Is Moab the grandson's name?
Yeah,
Okay.
Moab is the grandson of Lot.
How do you distinguish where you're more from Moab,
hmm
but I'm not, and he's not?
So our belief is everyone who's been branded Negro, black, and colored is a descendant of Moab.
Okay.
That is our belief.
Who came and who was Lot's grandson?
Yeah,
Okay. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So fast forward after Abraham and Lot and Moab died, their descendants established the kingdom of Moab, the kingdom of Moab that's talked about in the Bible. When the Israelites were being guided out of Egypt by Moses,
Yeah.
Moses died in the land of Moab.
Okay.
Once he died, Joshua came in charge and was slaughtering a bunch of people in the land of Canaan. And there are specific verses in the Bible where Allah tells the Israelites to not touch Moab because we were promised a portion of the Holy Land because of our forefather Lot. But during that time, we believe that there was a western migration of Moors or Moabites uh, through Egypt to the western portions of Africa. And that's where the Berbers are, as an example. We believe that there's a second major migration of Moabites from the land of Moab, which is modern day Jordan.
Moabites and a people named after Moab.
Yeah, just like Israelites are people named
Israel.
after Israel, yeah,
Okay.
whose name was Jacob.
Okay.
So we believe that there was another migration around the 600 BC when the Persians and Egyptians were warring with each other. At that time, the kingdom of Moab was uh, a principality of the Syrian Empire, which was controlled by Egypt at the time. And historians say that during the Persian rule over Moab, the Moabites basically were written out of history. And this is because of a plot that the Moabites had to assassinate the Persian king. And once that failed, the Persians forced the Moabites to assimilate into their culture and not to identify as Moabites anymore. So that's where they disappear. But the reason why I mention that is because I believe that there was a second major migration due to war of Moors going to the west, and this is documented. Now, what's difficult to point out is Noble Drew Ali told us that the kingdom of the Moabites, who are modernly identified as Moors, extends from uh, Egypt, all of West Africa, and North, South, and Central America. And he pinpoints before the great earthquake that caused the Atlantic Ocean. So there's this concept of the continents being connected and the entire landmass being called Pangea or Pangaea. And I believe that these migrations of Moors was during the time where all of the continents were connected. It's hard to prove because radiocarbon dating. Go ahead.
Is that group of Moabites
hmm
different than before or after Lot's grandson and his followers?
This is after.
Okay.
This is where we get we get the name Moabite from Moab. So everything would have to be after him, after he was born.
Okay.
We're claiming to be descendants of him.
So you said the Persians really killed him all. That was it. They killed.
Well, they didn't kill him. They just like Palestine today, how the state of Israel is saying it's illegal for Palestinians to call themselves Palestinians.
Yeah.
It's the similar concept. We weren't allowed to call ourselves what we were because of tyrannical rulership.
Okay.
Yeah. So, radiocarbon dating is the measurement of the decay of carbon-14 in organic matter. It's very difficult to measure that in like rocks and stuff like that. So scientists have stated that radiocarbon dating is only accurate up to between 58 to 60,000 years. So there's really no way to prove, at least not that I know of, I can't prove that Pangea was sooner as opposed to 250 million years ago, because our method of measurement is only accurate up to 60,000 years with a margin of error between 20 to 30,000 years. So, but it is documented that Pangea does exist. And the Prime Minister of Turkey stated that Muslims had arrived in the Americas centuries before Columbus, at least 900 years before Christopher Columbus. The University of Rhode Island, during an archaeological dig, found Quranic manuscripts written in 9th century Arabic here in Rhode Island, which proves that Muslims have been here, and Moors or Moabites were predominantly Muslim.
Mixing with the Native Americans?
So we believe that we are the Native Americans. We don't believe that they're a separate race or distinct group of people.
So the 900, did you say 900,000? What did you say about 900?
I said 60,000 years for radiocarbon dating.
The people that were here already.
Yes, we believe we were those people.
Okay. So where did the Native American come from?
So this concept of Native American came from the Europeans in their designed plan to separate our people. So they separate us by skin color, and they tell half of us, well, you're Spanish, the other half, well, you're black, and then a few others, well, you're Native American, to divide us when we're actually the same people. And when you look at the spectrum of melanin, it ranges from light brown to dark brown. And when you look at our people, they range from light brown to dark brown. So to make up for the fact that these Europeans couldn't have done what they did, this is why they say, oh, there's so few Native Americans, when all of us are the Native Americans, and we're just taught that we're something else. Because when you add our numbers, we actually outnumber them. You know, but to give us a defeatist mentality, oh, there's only a few of you, and then you're not even the same people, even though we're all in the projects together. We all share a similar plight because we're the same people. So the idea of us not being from here was socially engineered so that we wouldn't claim the land that's at our feet, which allows other people to rule over us on our own homeland. And if you Google search, as an example, the Olmec heads found in Mexico, you'll see they have your features. The same features that the Europeans tell us to hate, the same features that the Europeans told us were Negroid, are the same exact features that were found buried in Mexico, 10-ton stone heads that are at least 2,000 years old, with the same quote-unquote Negroid features. So that's further proof that we were already here.
Okay.
So this concept of Native American being something other than yourself, from our perspective, is wrong. We are Aboriginal and indigenous to this land, and the migration of the Moabites shows us or tells us how we got here.
So the way you know a Native American today is by their hair, by the beads they wear, their clothes. You go, oh, Native American.
Yeah, well, you see pale skinned people dressed like that all the time, and they say they're Native American.
Where do you get that? Where'd that come from?
That came from the schools that the Europeans established to create this idea of
Of the
Native American. Yeah.
So they said you wear this and you
Yeah, because I mean, if you be honest, I could wear beads, I could dress like that, and then I can say whatever they say, and then what? Does that make me Native American?
no.
One of the chiefs here is brown like me, has a beard like me, has hair like me, and he claims to be a Native American chief. There's even people darker than me that claim to be Native Americans because we are the Native Americans.
Okay.
We're just taught something else.
Okay.
And so, as far as the slave trade is concerned, we believe that one, we were already here, and two, we became prisoners of war after we lost a series of wars, and then some of us became slaves. But through mass miseducation, this idea of all of us being slaves was established. And like I said in some of my previous classes, most people can't even identify a slave in their genealogy. And then again, the United States, on their own records, each state, to my knowledge, has admitted that quote unquote Native Americans have been, through the Census Bureau, reclassified as black, colored, and Negro. And when you look at it, like as an example, when you look at Christopher Columbus, he thought he was in India because the people were brown. And this idea of complexion becoming the mode of slavery was established in Virginia 1705, which is where I went over last week's class, where skin color became the determining factor of if you were a slave or not. So, and it was only after a series of wars. It wasn't just these Europeans had guns, we didn't, and then they took us from our home. When you look at the history from the 1400s to the 1800s, the Europeans were always at war with Northwest Africa. They were always at war with the Moors. They were always at war with the Almoravids, the Almohads, the uh, the Syrian Empire, the Ottomans. These are all dark-skinned African people that they were at war with, and they kept losing wars up until the 1800s. And once that happened, Moors just erased from history, and now Negro, black, colored, Negroid, and all these other things come into play. And then most scholars will retroactively apply the terms Negro, black, and colored to, pre 1400 era people when that term wasn't even used. When you look at, this is why I referenced the book Alfonso IV, I believe, it was written in Latin. When they referred to dark-skinned people, they referred to them as Moors and Moabites. That was the word that was used. Not black, not Negro, and not colored. It was always Moor or Moabite. They even referenced certain Jewish scholars. We even talk about the medieval period, how scholars during the medieval period referred to Islam as, or people that practice Islam as Moabites or Hagarites, which is related to Hagar, the second wife of Abraham.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
You gotta put this together for me. What I know about Hagar, I guess Abraham wanted a child. Sarah was either too old or barren. They kept praying for a child. Sarah told Hagar to sleep with Abraham and give him a baby, right? And then some point, I guess Sarah did get pregnant.
Yeah.
She put Hagar out of the house.
No.
And Hagar, wait,
Yep.
because I'm not Christian.
Yeah.
I'm going from when I visited Christian churches and when I was in a Catholic school as a little girl, so
Yeah.
it's jammed in my head.
Yeah.
And scrambled. But from what I got, they talk about Hagar. The point in the sermon that I heard at church was about faith in God, that He will provide for you.
Yeah.
Hagar was running to and fro in the wilderness with this baby.
Yeah.
Couldn't feed the baby.
Yeah.
And just when she was ready to lay down dying, a spring of water came
Yeah,
up.
Zamzam, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what did you just say about Hagar?
So there's some things that are slightly different from Christianity and Islam, predominantly because the Romans created a lot of stuff in 325 AD and innovated a lot of things. So Hagar, she wasn't a slave; she was Egyptian royalty. So on the journey from Mesopotamia, the city of Ur of the Chaldeans, to the land of Canaan, uh, Abraham and his wife Sarah went into Egypt. At the time, the Pharaoh or the king of Egypt would take all the beautiful women and sleep with them. So Abraham told Sarah, when we go into the city, tell them that you're my sister.
Yeah.
The Pharaoh took Sarah. Sarah prayed to Allah and said, please don't let this man touch me. The man was I think it was either a dream or something happened where he was told not to touch this woman. And as a parting gift, the Pharaoh said, take one of these noble women with you and leave. And that woman was Hagar.
As a parting gift, Pharaoh said that. Her husband was Pharaoh?
So
He wouldn't say that.
Pharaoh took Sarah in an attempt to sleep with her.
Right.
Sarah prayed to Allah, don't let this happen. Something was inspired in Pharaoh or some fear was inspired in Pharaoh to the point where he didn't sleep with her. He apologized and said, take this noble woman with you as, a token of my apology. And you and Abraham can leave. And then they left.
The woman who came
was Hagar.
He was going to keep her.
She was already in Egypt. But he was going to keep Sarah, but he didn't. So Abraham ended up leaving with Sarah and Hagar at the same time.
Okay.
And Abraham was inspired by Allah to send Hagar, once she had Ishmael, to Mecca to establish Mecca. And like you said, before she was about to basically quit, we're told that the angel Jabril or Gabriel tapped the dirt or the earth with the tip of his wing, and Zamzam water came out.
So I never heard that part. I didn't hear it like that. The angel Gabriel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this happened. There's no way for me to say exactly before, during, or after. But we do know that when the two angels came to Abraham to warn him about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, that Hagar and Ishmael was already in the valley of Mecca. We don't know how much time had elapsed from the warning of the angels to Abraham, and then Abraham saying, well, hold on, my nephew Lot is there. And the angels saying, we already know who's there. At least I don't know how much time had elapsed between that time and when the angels actually went to the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And then how long it took for the city to be destroyed, and then how long it took for Lot to go down to the valley of Mecca. But we're told, or at least there are Jewish scholars who state that Ishmael ended up marrying a Moabite woman named Aisha. So time had to have passed in order for Lot's grandson Moab to have children. Right? And then for one of those children to be married to Ishmael. And then there's another narrative of when Abraham came to visit Ishmael, there was a coded message where he said something along the lines of change the welcome of your door, or something like that. And then Ishmael came home, spoke to his wife. I sensed that someone was here. She said someone was here. He gave you his salams and then said to change the welcome mat of your door, or whatever the phraseology was. And then Ishmael responded, that was my father. He told me to divorce you. And then he got another woman from the same tribe, the tribe of Moab. And then when Abraham came again, he was pleased with the woman. And then when Ishmael came back, he said, I sensed there was a man in the house. She said there was. He gave you his salams and to keep your door, your entrance of your door, or whatever it was. And then Ishmael responded, that was my father. He told me to keep you as a wife. And then Abraham was giving glad tidings of Isaac. And then that's when Sarah laughed and said, how? I'm this old, and my husband's that old. How?
Isaac and Ishmael.
Yeah.
the mother put the clothing of one brother on the other one, sent him to the father who was blind to steal the inheritance or something like that.
Yeah, so
And
that's
is that Hagar's son and Sarah's son?
yes.
That's
But
what I thought.
there is no, I haven't come across that story in Islam, but
Mm-hmm.
I have come across several stories that are narrated from the Islamic perspective that are slightly different from the Roman Chalcedonian perspective, whereas Islam, or from the Islamic perspective as given to us in the Quran, we're told by Allah that the prophets are basically clean of all our claims against them. So, as an example, Lot, we're told from the Christian perspective that Lot got drunk and then mated with his two children. Allah comes in and erases that and say the prophets are clear of all this crap that you put on them. Because one, in Islam, you can't even drink. Two, you can't be a prophet and also be a drunkard. Three, incest is absolutely prohibited in Islam. There's actually laws that specify as a man you can't sleep with your daughter.
Why? That's vague in my head.
What's vague?
So I've heard it before, but it's vague.
Which part?
About Lot sleeping with his own children.
Yeah, so that was created by Rome. That's not an actual authentic account of what happened.
Okay.
And from the Islamic perspective, we're told, as an example, many prophets have said, my son and my daughters, when they refer to their community as a role of guardian over these people. So when Lot told the homosexual men of the entire city, my daughters are better for you, he meant the women are better for you, not his own actual daughters.
Okay.
Because there's no possible way an entire city of men is going to sleep with his two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
And when I heard that story most recently from, I won't say from who, the take on it was Lot's, the gay men went to Lot's house. And Lot said, I have all these beautiful daughters. We want one of them, but they really went there for the men.
Yeah, for the two angels.
Okay.
Yeah, so Allah sent the angels. We're told in the Quran that whenever Allah sends angels, basically time is up. So the angels were sent in this beautiful fashion to test the people of Sodom and Gomorrah to see if they would change before the punishment came.
Yes.
So on their way into town, we're told, at least some narrations that I've heard, was that Lot's wife seen them and was telling people in the town, like, oh, these beautiful men are coming, these beautiful men are coming. And that's why she turned into the pillar of salt, because she was basically for the pride crab.
She turned around.
Yeah, but
I heard it like she turned around.
It's
and God said, don't turn around, keep going, don't look back.
Yeah, but it's more than just you look back. It's what was in her heart. She was telling the men of this city who are open homosexuals that there are beautiful men coming, knowing what they would do.
Okay.
Right? So it's more than just she turned around. It's your actions. Islam rewards you or punishes you for your actions, not
God was destroying that area
because of the corruption, not just the homosexuality, the corruption, the murder. They were kidnapping people, laying in wait, waiting for merchants to come by, snatching them, raping them, and stealing their stuff.
Oh, you mean like today?
Yes.
Okay.
So the people of the town seen these beautiful angels come in, and they went to Lot's door and said, didn't we tell you not to have any guests? Because he was speaking out against what they were doing. The people basically said, you know what we're here for. And then he responded, women are better for you. You're the only people at that time. They were the only people at the time since the creation of time to have done anything like that. And they were destroyed for it. And we're told that not only was the city taken up into the heavens, turned upside down, and then dropped, but there were stones, fiery stones, that also rained down from heaven with every single person's name on it.
Now that part I heard about the fire and brimstone.
No, it was particular to every single human being that practiced that behavior.
That's a lot. Okay, wow.
Yeah. And that's where the Dead Sea is now. That's why it's called the Dead Sea.
Okay.
So that is essentially our origin and migration here to the Americas. And the claim that Moab himself was an idol worshiper is false. There are narratives that after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot never ceased in telling that story of the angels and what happened to the people that disbelieved. So if a prophet of Allah never ceased telling the story of this great calamity, then his children are going to know, and then their children are going to know. And there has always been at least 1 to 3 generations of the prophet worshiping Allah, and then the next generation after them doing the same, and then the next generation after them also doing the same. Because this issue of Moab having an idol god, Shemos or Chemos, however you want to say it, it's just one of the names of God.
What is it?
Shemos or Chemos or Chemos. It depends on what letter you're writing it in and what language you're writing it in. But it means the conqueror. And at that time, there were no other gods that Moab worshipped. Later down the line, idol worship was created, and the kingdom of Moab was known for it because of what the Mesopotamians or the Persians did, which we already know the reason why Abraham and Lot left Mesopotamia was because of idol worship. So that idol worship came later after they were destroyed by the Persians. At least one period of it. So that's important because we are the followers of Islam. We're one of the original followers of Islam with Abraham through Lot, which is very important because our people have always looked for our connection, and there it is. Not only biblically, but historically. You know, these are things that are documented.
Why did you say it like that?
Say what, like what?
We are Muslim through Abraham and Lot, and that's very important.
Because.
Oh, to make the distinguish there, it's not Prophet Muhammad.
Not necessarily a distinction. It's just everyone else can connect where they're from. We are the only people that don't or can't. So this is our claim to our connection, like everyone else does.
We were here for so much longer than that.
What do you mean? We've had to descend from someone.
But Abraham and Lot.
Mm-hmm. That's around 2000 BCE.
Yeah, but what about before that? There was plenty of people. So are we saying that's when time started?
No, this is post Noah. This is post the flood. And like it says in Genesis, this is believed by Muslims as well. From the descendants of Noah, the earth shall be populated.
Okay.
So we believe that post Noah, this region was populated by Moabites. That's why I noted the 2 migrations of Moors to the west, meaning from modern day Palestine to here.
Tell me about. So you already told me about both of them. You said there was a second migration.
One during the time of Moses and one during the Egyptian and Persian War.
Okay. So I'm ignorant about the Egyptian and Persian War.
Yeah. So I mean, I briefly went over it. Around 6 something BC. The Persian Empire was expanding. At the time, the Egyptian Empire was already present. The Kingdom of Moab already existed. The Syrian Empire already existed. And the Persians were spreading. And they came up to Egypt.
And they wanted to conquer Egypt because Egypt was so rich.
Well, that area has always been the center of trade from Mesopotamia, which is basically the middle ground between East and West. So you know about the Silk Road? from China to from east to west, basically. It's called the Silk Trade because a lot of silk was trafficked. But basically, if you look at any most topographical maps, and you look at the rivers and the roads, there's basically one long, super long straight road that goes from China to India, to Pakistan, to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to Jordan, and then it splits from there to, Mecca, to Turkey, to Greece, to Egypt. So that's basically, this is like the center for trade. In order for you to be an empire at that time, you have to control trade, particularly spices such as sugar, cinnamon, things like that, and gold.
Yes, I remember.
So empires would, and this is still happening today, empires would constantly fight over control over this Silk Road. And that's what that was about, to control the trade and the ports of trade, or the major cities where trade predominantly happened.
So when I'm driving, especially when I go to Boston, I see black men on the corner with bullhorns, and they're wearing these purple
Yeah.
uniform looking things, and
Yeah.
they call themselves Black Israelites.
The Black Hebrew Israelites, yeah.
Yeah. Where do they fit with the Moors?
Well, they claim that the descendants of Moab are Chinese people, and that the so-called Black Americans are the Israelites. They take certain verses from the Bible as proof that the Bible is talking about us now. But from my perspective, the Bible is telling the story of what happens when you abide by God's law and what happens when you don't. And then specific people are used to show that.
You're talking about the story about parting the sea and leaving the land.
Not just that. Because in the Bible, throughout Deuteronomy, throughout Numbers, throughout Judges and Kings, Israel has been warned several times of what will happen to them if they don't repent from their sins. And this is the story of every single people at every single time period when a messenger was sent to them.
Right.
If you don't change your ways, you will be destroyed.
So you don't believe that was for today? You believe
No, it
that
is.
It was for that time?
It is. The principle is for today,
Okay.
but literally the book was about those people then. But the concept is the same, that since we stopped following our own God and started following after the idol gods of Rome, we fell. And this is our fallen state.
Yes.
So the Moorish perspective, we do agree with that, but we don't agree that necessarily we are all the descendants of Israel, because we believe we descend from Moab. Now, there are times throughout history where some of the people of Moab and some of the people of Israel have mixed, such as with such as with King Solomon, such as Boaz with Ruth, who was a Moabite. And throughout history, people have always gone from one city to another, and people mix all the time. So we believe that there's a mixture of Israelite blood, but we are from Moab. That's our belief. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a lot to
It is a lot.
it's a lot to comprehend. So you believe that some of the Moors came, they're descendants of Abraham,
Of Lot. Descendants of Lot.
of Lot.
Mm-hmm.
Other Moors are descendants of who?
Other Moors are mixed with Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite, Israelite, and Ishmaelite blood.
How? Ishmaelite,
Yeah.
the son.
Ishmael is the primogeniture of Arabs,
Are you,
the forefather of Arabs.
are you talking about the son who tricked the father and got the riches.
So from the Islamic perspective, there was no tricking that took place.
Okay. From the Islamic perspective, that didn't happen.
Yes, that did not happen.
Mm.
We're told that the modern day Arabs are descendants of Ishmael, and Isaac, the father of Jacob. Jacob, of course, being Israel. Those are two different human beings, Jacob and Ishmael. So their descendants are different.
So Sarah did have a baby in old age.
Yeah, Isaac.
But Hagar's son was older. He came first.
Yes, he was the firstborn. Yeah.
Okay. But you are, and so that's the story of the trickery with those two sons when the mother wanted her son to get the. That's
Yeah,
the
but
story
that's
that you don't believe.
Yes, because the Romans admit they have documented where they made stuff up, such as Easter, they made it up, such as the Holy Trinity, they made that up.
Well, they stole that. I don't think so. Yes, they did make it up. Yes, they did make it up. But I think they stole it and misunderstood it and gave it the meaning that they wanted it to have or what they thought it meant or what. But I believe that it's stolen legacy. And the reason I believe that is because I was taught, I don't know, I was watching somebody, Professor James Smalls, I think I was watching. Lost my train of thought. Oh, he was showing the similarities with the things we do here and that are related to what we did in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we have on our dollar bill the eagle or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so in Mayat, your heart is supposed to be lighter than a feather.
Yeah.
The scale of justice, which they have, where is it? On the courthouse?
Yeah.
Or something that's stolen from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 disciples that Jesus had.
Mm-hmm. The 12 constellations.
The 12 jurors.
Mm-hmm.
That was stolen from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had 12. Don't ask me to tell you 12 what. Because I heard it.
The constellations.
Constellations.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
Aries, Taurus, Gemini.
Oh, the constellations.
Was it not Scorpio? I don't know.
So
I know them, but just.
I didn't know that that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
So let's just back up. This idea of God being a Trinity, we don't believe. We believe that God is one. We believe that God is omnipotent. God is omnipresent. God does not beget, and he was not begotten, which means God does not procreate, and God was not procreated. God is self-sustaining, and there's nothing comparable.
Self-made?
Well, we don't. In order for God to be made, there would have to be a time where he didn't exist.
Where he created himself.
Well, we don't believe that God was created.
Okay.
God just is.
Okay.
And this is why we say there's nothing comparable to him, and he's incomprehensible. Because when we try to think from a human mind, from our own aspect, things have to have been created. That's just how we think. But our creator could not have been created, or he would not be the creator. Something else would have been. Right? So we're told through the prophets, and our idea or the attributes that we know about God have been revealed to us by prophets. So we don't believe that God is three of anything. We believe that God is one thing. There is no other false or idol deity that has claimed to be the creator of all things. None of the idol gods of Egypt claim to be the creator of all things. None of the idol gods of Greek mythology or Roman mythology claim to be the creator of all things. In fact, it says in the Quran that if there were other gods equivalent to Allah, then there would have been fighting and destruction. And when you hear about the stories of all of these other idol gods, the Orishas, the Zeus, or even the Hindu gods, there's always infighting, because they have these human aspects, right?
Mhm.
Because they're created by humans.
Mhm.
We don't believe that we can create our own God, so we don't believe that we can create a statue, or we can pick up a rock, dress the rock up in fancy metals or jewelry, and then say this is our God. We don't believe that. We believe that God created all things, and
Mhm.
God is incomprehensible. So although there might be some sort of dichotomy of nature that shows the inner workings of life, we don't believe that God is subject to the things that he created. So this idea of a trinity, we can think of positive, negative, and neutral. That's also a trinity, which is the building block of atoms, but we don't believe that an atom is God. We believe that this nature of an atom, the nature of existence, was created by God. So there may be similarities of things because of the unity of nature, but we don't believe that that is God. It is God's creation. Because we could say the Trinity is Mother, Father, Son, because that's the Trinity of life.
Which is what the Egyptians said, Asar,
Yes.
Set, Haru. And I believe that they misunderstood it. Or just flat. So the Bible's been either maliciously switched around and lied.
It has
and
been,
put
yeah.
lies in and twist things and take things out of context.
Yeah.
Or you didn't really know what it meant, so you assigned it a meaning. And that's what I think with the Holy Trinity. That's not what it meant to the Egyptians.
So
It was for the Egyptians, from what I understand, that the father is the head.
Yeah.
Right? And the wife and the child, they followed him. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a Holy Trinity, but it was
The order of
family.
life, yeah, family structure.
Yes.
So in Islam, that is also the same structure. The only issue is above the man is God.
Right.
So most of Egypt's history has been polytheism. So we can't take polytheism, any of its principles, and then apply it to the truth, because polytheism took portions of the truth and then spread it into polytheism. So whereas God is the creator and the destroyer, polytheists create one God that's a creator and one God that's a destroyer. So again, there are principles that are true, and these true principles have been incorporated into polytheism, but that doesn't give authenticity to polytheism, because again, most of the rulers of Egypt claimed to be gods themselves, yet they all died. So we have to be very careful not to conflate things as if, well, because the Egyptians did this, that means they were right about this as well. That's very dangerous.
They were right. They had a lot on the ball. They were
Of
right.
course, yeah.
That's not everything, because nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But I
But
think they had a lot on the ball.
and so I'll address this point first. One, Allah always has said that He will test people with knowledge, with wealth, with grief, with loss, and with prosperity. So of course the Egyptians could have been prosperous.
Allah said that.
Yes, in the Quran, of course, yeah.
Where is that? I want to look it up.
You'd have to read it. I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head.
Okay, say it again.
So there's several verses where Allah tells us that He's going to test us with our family, with our wealth, with our children, with our spouses, with loss, and with grief. And He tells us that He created the world diverse, so that way He can see who's the best amongst us in character. So Allah has allowed several communities or nations of people throughout history to be prosperous in commerce and architecture and building and things like that. And then He ended up destroying them because their behavior was wrong. So yeah, you can create all these beautiful things as a test. Let me see how you'll do with it. And then your behavior is corrupt, so you will be destroyed. And this has happened with many ancient civilizations, and proof is the stones, and they don't exist. So again, a lot of grandeur and glory is given to Egypt, but we also have to remember they also enslaved a lot of people. they also did bad things, and they also claimed to be themselves gods. So that's why I'm saying we have to be able to distinguish the great advances in technology from the idol worship and the polytheism.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of information. So the more you talk, I won't.
Yeah.
And suddenly I feel sleepy. Do I look sleepy? I feel so sleepy.
Well, I did say a lot of boring stuff, so
It's not boring.
it is.
No, it's not. Some of it, well, okay, so a lot of the history, I don't know. But
Yeah.
some of the history you said, I've heard.
Mhm.
But I've heard different variations of it.
Yeah.
And I have my own beliefs about it.
Mhm.
I have different beliefs.
Mhm.
I just didn't tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The women in my group have low self-esteem.
Hold on. I'm still recording. I'm still live.
Oh. I was gonna, okay, I don't wanna put that on your recording. I was gonna make a point,
Mhm.
going off topic, but I really.
Well, I just didn't want you to say anything.
Okay, where's that gonna go?
It's on YouTube.
Okay, but they can't see.
No. I just wanted to let you know before you continued, because it sounded like you was going to say something that may have been private.
So, the women in my group, most women that come to me because of trauma, depression, and substance use usually, they don't feel good about themselves. They have low self-esteem. So, we do little things. I have a packet over here from a curriculum, Who Am I? And it's an exercise, and you can't say mother, daughter, sister, your role, right? So there's rules.
Mm-hmm.
And you get together with somebody, you have so much time to say, to answer the question, who am I? So we've done that many times. And then there's little sections, who do other people say I am? How do other people see me? What would other people say about me? So it's this whole curriculum-based kind of who am I thing. So last night, I read the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Yeah.
I didn't even read the whole thing. I read the part that I highlighted, right?
Yeah.
Because
Was it to divide the women against the men and the weak against the strong and the elder against the young and the boys against the girls and switch the roles? Yeah.
Yes. How to break us. So I feel that it's relevant when you're talking about what we've been through as a people. You gotta know about that.
Yeah.
Because we point our fingers at each other. We can't, married people get divorced, boyfriends, girlfriends, they can't stay together. Men and women are fighting each other. It's his fault, it's her fault. Turned in on each other when the one common enemy is not each other.
Yeah.
Right? We were taught this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I said something about going to a Catholic school as a little kid, and the stained glass windows had saints and angels that were all white, and in the back you could light a candle, and the Saint Michael and Saint Mary and Saint all these saints had these candles. They were all white, and then on the ceiling, she came for your class.
Oh yeah.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
So you might as well come in, Olu. So I'm saying.
She's not in here yet.
Okay. So I'm saying, as a little black girl, and you're going to this Catholic school and Catholic church, you're looking around. You're looking for yourself.
Yeah.
You're not there. Then the priest says, "You call me father."
Yeah.
Right? And so, this is my group. So, a woman in my group got so angry. She said, I'm from Jamaica, and then when they dropped us off at all these little islands, come in, Olu, because we got to have group in here. I'm from Jamaica, when they dropped us off in all these islands, um, that was not our experience. I was talking about the light skin, dark skin, pitting each other against each
Yeah.
kind of thing. Oh, so she tried to make a separation as to the slaves that were dropped off in Jamaica. Didn't experience in the breaking, the buck breaking, none of this.
Mm.
She always knew that she wasn't separate from God. Because I had said in the Catholic Church, the worst thing they ever could have did, and not just Catholic Church, but most of them, the worst thing they could ever do is teach us we're separate from God, right? So I use that as an example. I'm looking around, and I'm like, look up on the ceiling. There's this big white hand holding Jesus's finger, and the hands are white. And there's not I can't find myself, right? So then you're taught, don't do this, you gotta be good. You know, all these rules. And if you break them, you're a sinner, you're gonna die, you're gonna go to hell and burn in the hellfire forever. And I'm like, okay, so the biggest mistake, that's a huge, you're nobody, you don't matter, you don't count, and you're nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It just reaffirms it.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, I'm going to school during busing, and they're busing the inner city black kids out in the suburbs. I grew up at that time, so I'm a little girl, 7 years old, down like this in between the seats on the bus, because when you turn the corner where school is, it's lined with white people, adults. And this is the elementary school, grades 1 through 5.
Yeah.
And they had bats and rocks. Get these niggas out of here. We don't want these niggas at us hitting the bus, hitting her. And so I'm 7 or 8, scared to death, and trying to figure out, oh, something's wrong with me. It's 'cause I'm black. There was no one to say something's wrong with them for even treating children that way.
Mm-hmm.
Those are children on that bus. It doesn't matter what skin color they are, they're children. You got bats and rocks and you're an adult. And you're gonna throw rocks and bats at the bus and might maybe throw a rock and hit a kid in the head and kill him. Really? But at the time, I'm not comprehending what's wrong with me, except I know they're doing this because I'm black. So at home, and this woman is fighting me the whole way. I always knew, and she kept trying to talk about Jesus this and Jesus that. I said, listen, it's a class on knowing our history so we don't repeat it, knowing about the damage that was done so that we can figure out how to heal it, how to address it, how to fix it. And you are going over there to the left, and I'm trying to go over here to the right. And remember we talked about who am I? So you learn who you are at home. Then when you go to school, you learn a little bit more about who you are. And in society, in your neighborhood, you learn a little bit more about who you are. And you may not be those things, but that's what you learn, because that's what they said. I learned that God had nothing to do with me, because he was nowhere. I'm dark and God was white and Jesus was his son. So then I'm not white. So then who am I? Well, I'm really nobody. And I go home and I'm being abused and I've been traumatized. My mom's gone, she's dead. And there's no one there to say, hey, you are somebody. You know what I mean? Go out to play and get called Blackie and this and that and this and that. So then that's affirming that you're nobody. And then you go to church and you can't see yourself. And what institution in America is there to help you build? Who tells you you matter? So I said the biggest mistake they made was saying we're separate from God. We're not separate from God. He's right here, right? Within us. she says, how do you know, no, how do you teach somebody who has no value and no integrity? I said, it's innate. Well, what do you mean it's innate? I said, it's innate. If God is in here, different religions say it different ways. I think the Christians say he blew the breath of life in me. I'm not really sure. But we're not separate from him. We're one with him in human, physical form. So if the devil can be in you, why can't God be in you?
Mhm.
And I had a pregnant woman sitting there. And I looked at her and I said, she can make a devil or she can make a God, right? This woman was too fit to be tired. She said, I can't take no more of this. I'm out of here. And she laughed. And she laughed. And I'm like, so my point was, I always tell the women, you are the mothers of civilization.
Yeah.
And no one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. And we, as the mothers of civilization, are the ones that the bulk of the work is on. We are the hand that rocks the cradle.
Mm-hmm.
We can decide that we're going to have a new world order just by teaching our children, when we're rocking the cradle, who they are. Let's homeschool them. We know about the pipeline in prison, why put them in there?
Yep.
You know, and so this is what the class was about, but I don't know what I said that upset her so bad. But I strongly believe, I know that they're not going to teach us. They've been hiding the truth from us for years.
Yep.
And anybody who thinks that you're 3/5 of a human being and begins to treat you like an animal, if they're not going to treat you right, don't expect them to teach you right. And why are we still sitting here waiting?
Yeah.
Why are we still waiting for them? I said, change starts in a group like this with like-minded people.
Yeah.
We have to do something because we're not okay.
Yeah.
And because the world says it's okay, don't mean it's okay.
Well, the world doesn't. The
Yeah,
the
world-
European Union
or the world-
and
when I
NATO
say-
and the U.S.
When I say the world, I'm talking about if you say, oh, I'm in the wrong body, I want to be a woman and I'm going to have my penis cut off, right? And I got a problem with that, then I'm something phobic. I'm transphobic, I'm homophobic, I'm a this, I'm a phobic this, phobic that, phobic. I said, they have this thing called NAMBLA, Men, Boys, Love Association. They killed this little boy, who's my son's age. He'd be an adult now. That's how
Excuse
I
me.
found out about NAMBLA. So I said, so in this world today, in
What is NAMBLA?
Men, Boys, Love Association.
Okay.
These two older kids, young men, maybe in their early 20s, took this little 10-year-old boy and violated him and killed him and put him in one of them Tupperware containers and then helped the parents on the search to find the child. When they found the child and found the two men that did it, the two men said that they were part of this NAMBLA association. I first heard it my son's 37, so he was going to school with this kid, so that's how old it is. So 20 years, a little less than 20 years ago. But this organization exists still today, it's up and going. And so I'm saying, homophobic, transphobic, this, the world, God says don't do this. The world says, it's okay, we can do it.
Yeah.
And if you're, I didn't say, people, hang them, flag them, they hated us, so they hung us. They took our babies for sport and play and held them by their leg like this in front of the alligators just for play. Do this. with our babies and feed them to the alligator for entertainment. That's hatred. That's evil at its worst. I didn't say, not doing it means you're, I can't, so so next year, the world says, oh, NAMBLA is okay. You got a problem with NAMBLA? Oh, you're NAM phobic now. So how far will they go in this world, in Satan's world, and how far do we follow them?
We're not supposed to.
Do we?
People do, yeah. I don't.
I don't. But I'm just saying, like, does that make sense? Like,
No, it doesn't.
none of it does.
Mhm.
None of it, and it just appalls me that, you know, we still expect them. This is what they showed us who they are. They told us
Yeah,
who they are.
but most people don't know.
Then Mrs. I'm pissed off at you says, a white person never did blah 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 to me, but it's black people who do da 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 da. When she was, I blocked it out because I could not. I'm not.
Where do you think they learned it from? So, okay.
Because you can derail a group.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I already done told you, I'm trying to go this way, and if I, you know, get in this conversation with you, you're gonna go that way. But we talking about who I am, and I'm trying to say that we're mothers of civilization, the first people on earth who taught people to cook and wash their food. Wash their bodies and from the caves.
Wash food too, even though they don't do
in Europe. You know, the uncivilized people. So I said, now if my mother's mother was the mother of civilization, how come I'm not the mother of civilization? And then I said, but we can't do it because we too busy on YouTube, you know,
Twerking.
We twerking. And we partying. And we looking for men. And we looking at, and our mind is distracted all over the place. We're doing everything that we should not be doing. And if we should not be doing it, then something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And then she said, this isn't real. She heard that this was made up. So she was having a bad night, because that's not who I know her to be. But once we get into, I pull out little things from history in most of my women's groups.
Who's this individual?
I'm not gonna tell you
Oh,
that.
sorry.
I'm on live, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just so you know not to say certain things.
So in most of my women's groups, this is where so if I have the knowledge, even that much, I'm responsible to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's responsible to tell her and her and her and her, because if it's the mothers, if a nation can rise no higher than its woman, how are we gonna do it?
Mm-hmm.
I said, we can't wait for them to save us. When are we gonna save us? Where are we gonna start? When we start with a conversation like this. I've said this for 2 years in my groups.
Mm-hmm.
This is the truth. But I get called, there was a woman in my group, and she said, why did it always gotta be about black and white women? I said, oh, you didn't read my ad on Zinkia? You didn't read my ad? You should read my ad. Because when I was born into this world, there was a separation between the races. I didn't cause it. I'm talking about what I was born into, how it affected me, how it affects my people, and how we're gonna get out of it. That's what I care about. So you might be in the wrong group. Because that's just how I feel. I wrote this parenting curriculum that I'm so proud of, that Don's picked up. Because of it. Because when our sons leave, we're praying. When a white woman's son leaves, he left. So when you get back, my son leaves, I'm like, oh God, please protect my baby. Don't let the police don't here. We're not the same. She was mad at me for saying that. I said, oh wow, sorry. I have to call a thing a thing. And to act like it's not happening, because white people feel uncomfortable and guilty, so we won't say white civility or white supremacy or injustice or race, nothing, because, oh, you're a reverse racist, you're a racist. Well, black people can't be racist. We can't be, because we don't have the power to be racist. We can't stop anybody, take anything, say no to nobody, shut down nobody, or we can't do that stuff they do, but we can't be racist. And we also will personally, I don't have the authority or the power, but I'm speaking about things that are true. So don't say it that I'm not racist. Like, don't say it, or like.
Well, I think there's a difference between racism and systematic oppression. Like the hillbilly who's poor could be racist but doesn't have the ability to systematically oppress anyone. We don't have the ability to systematically oppress anyone, but we can definitely hate people because of what they look like. And the answer is no. So it doesn't matter if you don't like someone because of their skin color, you can't do shit about it. They can do things to us. That's the difference. That's the only difference. It doesn't matter if they don't like us, if they like us or not. What matters is what they do. Because there's certain people I don't like, but I stay away from them. I don't go out of my way to cause injury or harm to them. What they're doing is a crime, an actual crime. It's more than just, I don't like you.
So afraid. They're so afraid that if we wake up and figure out how to organize ourselves, that we'll do to them what they did to us. And that's all that is. It ain't nothing but a bunch of fear.
Well,
because to walk in here and hear a group like that, how is that group hurtful? How is it hurtful? What did I say that was hurtful? Because from where I stand, if someone would have told me when I was 5 that my mother was the mother of civilization and showed me Nefertiti.
Yeah, your perspective would have been different.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, your self-esteem go, oh, you're like, oh, I am somebody, oh, not, which is why it's omitted from the history books. It was done intentionally.
Yep.
So why am I the one who's being racist and, I got a problem because I'm not with the status.
A lot of people have programmed responses to things, and it's not even really their own truth or their own opinion or how they really feel. It's just they've seen this perspective somewhere else and they're mimicking it, like she probably really doesn't believe that, but that's the response that she's seen to some things that you're saying. So that was her automatic response, because people can be programmed for good or for bad. Behavior can be programmed for good or for bad, and most of the racism that we see is just programmed responses to things. Like, I have no problem with the N-word. It doesn't bother me, because growing up, I seen the programming of we have to be offended when someone says it. For what? It doesn't give us anything. It doesn't change anything. So to me, it's more powerful to not care that you say it. I don't care. It ain't me. I'm not a nigger. I'm not a Negro. I'm not a Negroid. You can say it as much as you want. I'm not that. But when people have it's a programmed emotional response to it, that's exactly what the creators of the situation want, to keep it going. Keep this thing in perpetual motion by teaching people how to be programmed in the program. So you call me an N-word, I get upset, now we're fighting, which keeps the racism going. Say whatever you want, get at it. Pick a new word, because that one ain't working no more. If we keep feeding into it, it keeps getting worse. Not saying that we have to absolutely ignore it, because that's ridiculous. We have to address what it is. In order to fix Willie Lynch, we have to address Willie Lynch. And then we have to understand that these are the symptoms, so let's change it. Just like you said, when the waves come, you say not now, and then they go away. You know, so when we have this, like our people, we like to fight each other. We like to fight each other because of the conditions that we're in. We see the one above us as impossible to fight, so we fight our brother. Let's change our mindset. Instead of fighting each other, let's realize, wait a minute, there's more of us than them.
And we got the same problem, we're in the same boat.
Yeah, so I think our mindset needs to change with a lot of things. And a lot of things that you're talking about is more science. We believe that we're the mothers and fathers of civilization and we have dominion of this earth, but we gave up our birthright to satisfy our lower self, which is exactly what you were talking about. Our men would rather drink, smoke, and FB words as opposed to and entertain and do sports and do all this other crap instead of utilizing their minds to actually rule and govern.
Yeah.
You know, so
They don't know that they can fix the problem. They feel so powerless and broken that they fix the problem, deny that there's a problem. That's not true and it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so then why are black men? We're in this condition no other race of people is in. We're the only ones who've been accused of not contributing anything to society. Come on. Come on. So I know when you teach these things, our people are hard to teach because they're hard-hearted, stiff-necked, and rebellious people.
Yeah, only when it comes to us. When it comes to their white daddy, no problem. But they're bred. Like I said, we're programmed to have these responses. We're programmed to think like this. Even if it's not true, we still think it. Even if we see, our people loving each other, we don't receive it. We just, like a lot of our people don't even know how to receive love. And there's a reason. And the system that put us in this condition is the reason. Granted, we do have our own choice of free will. And we are at fault for making poor choices, but we can't forget the conditions that we're put in, that also impact our ability to make choices. And essentially, it's either you absolutely assimilate into this European culture, or you get treated like dog shit. And then when you assimilate, you still get treated like dog shit, just a little less.
Because they're never really gonna let you in.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Which is why what the Moorish perspective is. We need to form our own nation, our own separate nation, where we elect who we want to elect, where we have our own rulers, where we have, we live by our own laws as opposed to what these people create. Because as an example, polygamy is illegal, which means if you're a man and you marry another woman, that's illegal. But you can be married and sleep with as many women as you want and have as many bastardized children as you want, which actually destroys the nation. But when you're polygamous, that's repairing the nation. So that way these women are out here being single. And these children have fathers to establish order and discipline in their lives. That's prohibited, but the destruction is not. But it's because we're assimilated into someone else's society. All we have to do is change our minds and say, nope, we disagree with that, so we're gonna form our own thing. But again, we have this,
So
we don't have the ability to
believe
believe
in
in
that.
ourselves. Say again?
I believe in that.
Yeah, a lot of our people do.
We believe in separatism. We need to read separatism.
Yeah.
And part of the so I'm part of the Exodus. Like
Mhm.
when yes.
I've never heard that one.
So we don't get along with you. You've been killing us for 400 years. You're still doing it. You do it on TV. Everybody sees it. If this white cop killed this black kid and he gets off because of justifiable homicide. So now you're doing it in our face openly. Nothing's changed. You're still lynching us. Why are we still trying to be friends with you?
Yeah.
Why?
So politically, that's called expatriation. You're no longer a citizen of that. You're expatriating. You're no longer a patriot. You're leaving, and you're forming your own thing.
So I officially left when I changed my name. I'm a part of the Exodus. I really am.
Yeah, but
I am a part of the Exodus.
There's who you pay taxes to, because this is all political. Who you pay taxes to, that's number one.
Some of it you can't get around, which is until you are
can.
on your own established.
You
I
can't.
believe in
Yeah.
our own established nation where we follow the laws of Allah.
Yeah. That's what more science is. That's exactly what it is.
Man, that's
So
exactly
what do you
right.
do about taxes? Because I'm not in a situation where I refuse taxes right now. Like
Mhm.
I just
Well, there's laws. So one of the things is no taxation without representation. Our people are not represented within this society whatsoever. That was the basis of the U.S. Revolution against the British. So that's the precedent for their nation being established. There's also the Code of Federal Regulations, where, according to the United States federal laws, taxes are voluntary. The I forgot his name, but it's on YouTube. The tax, I think his title was the Tax Commissioner. I have all this stuff in a binder at my house. I can show it to you. Where
If
they
you
go
can
on record
find-
on the floor of Congress saying taxes are voluntary.
If you can find the taxes of voluntary documentation,
Mhm.
can you please bring me a copy?
Yeah, have it all. There's also a case, Don E. Williams versus the IRS Commissioner, where they say that Federal Reserve notes is a conditional payment of taxes and not a payment of taxes.
Please.
so how do people be owing taxes and having to deal with
Because there's a system established to keep us where we are, and that's how they keep us where we are.
But if you give
because
me
they
that,
because they're just saying it and then we believe it. So
Yeah,
then we just,
because they're not only are they just saying it, they have the ability to enforce it.
Mm,
But just because they can enforce something doesn't mean it's right. They enforced slavery, that doesn't mean it was right.
right.
You know, so this is just another implementation of the system that keeps us where we are. And this is why I went over the House Resolution 25, the Fair Tax Act of 2023, where Congress themselves admitted that it's unfair, it's inequitable, and it violates the civil rights of American citizens. So they themselves admitted it because they can print as much money as they want.
Right. It sounds
So
right.
why would it? No, they do print as much money as they
No,
want.
like
Yeah.
where what you said before that.
Yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, it is. It's documented, and you know this isn't a new thing. This is just part of, again, why we need to separate. If we're gonna pay taxes, let's pay taxes into a government that's gonna benefit us, which means we elect ourselves. We elect people that actually look like us, people that have our background, so that way our voices are actually heard, because we have a different perspective. That's if a Chinese person walked in right now, their perspective on life is going to be different. Not because they're racist, not because they hate us, because we're just different people with different backgrounds. They grew up in a whole completely different society. They're not colonized. We are. They weren't put into slavery. You know what I'm saying? So our perspective is different, which means our rise out of this needs to be different.
and
And
if you bring it up, oh, that's old.
It doesn't
news.
matter.
Why
Who
you gotta
cares?
bring that up? Why you gotta, just
Makes
let
no
it go. It's not happening now. It's over. But you would never
You think
tell a
it's-
Jewish woman
of course,
that she's racist and
Why?
wrong to
Be-
tell
why?
her daughter
because the
not to
media,
marry a
because
German
there's a controlled narrative.
Mhm.
People have controlled responses to things.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us, I mean, obviously we can think for ourselves so we can form our own opinions, but most people watch the news and say, oh my God, poor Ukraine, oh my God, poor Israel, not knowing that Ukraine was part of Russia. They speak Russian. They're Russian people. In 2014 they separated from Russia and became part of NATO. This is all new. Russia's trying to get their land back, you know. So but people don't know that history, so just, oh, poor Ukraine. They don't realize after World War II, in World War II, the Zionists moved into Palestine and then started murdering Palestinians. Most people don't know that that's a result of World War II. They just say World War II, Hitler exterminated a bunch of Jews, poor Jews, Jewish sympathy, and then that's it. No political context whatsoever.
The Jewish Holocaust outweighs just everybody. Like they think so. We million Jews or something. We lost way more. So one of our lives
Huh?
is not equal to like I forget the numbers.
Well, the difference is, what did they do after and what did we do after? What we did after was we assimilated into our enemy's system. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
We assimilated, as opposed to separating and then claiming allegiance back to whatever nation state we came from. We failed in that aspect. That's like with Martin Luther King Jr. and this whole integration. He said, we integrated into a burning building. Why would you move into a house on fire? You separate. Just like with the Bureau of Refugees, Abandoned Land, and Free Men, the 40 Acres and a Mule, that's the official name of it. We were supposed to be restored to our own nation. They assassinated Abraham Lincoln and then spent all the money that was established for us to have our own shit, and then we assimilated into daddy's culture. Oh, we'll just be like daddy. We'll get whatever daddy gives us, instead of us being men and creating our own stuff. Excuse me, sorry. And this is why I brought up that Sundry v. Moors Act of 1790, where these Moors, they were put into slavery. They got their freedom and said, no, 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 no. We're not going to be part of your society. We have allegiance to our African sultan, who has a military. So if you violate us, that military's showing up. Not to march and pray. That's where that's the mindset that the mothers and fathers of civilization had, where we will defend our people. We don't do that. We shuck and jive. And this video footage, look at the George Floyd protest. People twerking in front of the cops. That's literally, when you look at the definition of shuck and jive, that's literally what that is. Men crumping in front of the police. That's shucking and jiving. What are you doing? You're giving that's free entertainment.
Because if you could make the slave master laugh, then he wouldn't be so harsh, hopefully,
Yeah.
on you.
That's shucking and jiving.
Yes.
Meanwhile, if that happened to anybody else, the person that killed said person would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
We just, oh no, pull out a phone and record. There's federal laws that says you can resist an unlawful arrest up until taking that person's life. That's the federal law of the United States.
So, I learned that if that ever happened to one of my sons, that's the day that I'm gonna die. Because I kept watching the people who were videoing. The man has a knee on George Floyd's neck. Armed people out there yelling, screaming. Why didn't they charge that money?
Because they didn't want to be arrested.
Exactly.
Because they were afraid.
Exactly.
White daddy said no.
Exactly. You got your knee on my baby's neck, I'm charging you. So you gonna kill me?
So now look, right? He was found guilty of murder. He was found guilty of murder. Which means when his knee was on George Floyd's neck, if anyone would have killed him, they would have been in the right. Because he was committing murder.
Mm-hmm.
Our people don't even think like that.
We watched it because the man, what's the name, Francis Wilson. We say the man. So if they're the man, then what are you? We're going inside crib.
Yeah.
A baby sleeps in the crib. Right? Francis Wilson teaches on that. So you got your knee on my son's neck. I'm gonna stand there and scream at you. I'm charging you.
It's a controlled response.
I'm charging you with all 100 and whatever pounds I weigh is going on you. And you're gonna shoot me? Okay, well, I died trying to protect my son's life, but that's not happening.
And according to our religion, you automatically go to heaven because of that.
As a matter of fact, it doesn't have to be my son. I don't think that I could stand there and watch another black man be killed like that. I'm charging you. I'm gonna throw my whole body on you. So I'm gonna get messed up. They're gonna shoot me, tase me, I don't know. But we're not gonna sit around and watch you kill these men no more. If I was there, I just kept saying, why are y'all standing there? Why don't somebody rush him? There's enough people to rush him. At least it would have saved his life.
Yeah, but then they would have been charged and they would have been in jail. They don't want that. They want to be on Instagram.
If we're gonna die anyway, let's die for a cause.
Now you're being a radical.
No, well I'm sitting.
I don't think you know who I am. It's okay.
I used to be afraid of death, but not anymore. You're not gonna kill another black man, and I'm standing there and I'm gonna watch it scream and stop.
Wow, that's amazing. Most men don't even think like that.
Yeah. Well,
Men will spend days commenting on my Instagram, challenging me, and just about anything, and they will never say what you just said in real life, and actually do it in real life. But they got time for me on Instagram though.
What, give your life to save another black man?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And you're a woman, which says a lot about our men, cowards.
Well, that's Willie Lynch. That's Willie Lynch.
It's also choice.
Behind the women.
True, yeah. The roles are reversed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is Willie Lynch. Yeah, that is true.
feel like the black women, and especially like the mothers, I definitely feel different, especially if we have sons. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we're more the protector than the men are.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Unfortunately, yeah. That's Willie Lynch.
It's spelled out as to why though. Like they made it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We to teach because we so scared of our sons being killed. We see what they do to these boys and these men. So we're protecting them. We're protecting them.
Overly
but
protective.
At the same time, coddling them.
Yep.
To keep them safe. So now they can't be a man, which
Yep.
is why they need their fathers.
And then they take the fathers out the house.
And they know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
When they do it.
Yeah.
Because now you're rendered. You have no protection.
Yep.
So now you got to go to him to protect you.
Yep.
So welfare, food stamps, WIC, all of that. Ain't
Yep.
nothing but the slave master today.
Yep.
The white man taking care of your children.
Yep.
Because they done killed your man.
Yep.
And black women walking around here dating white men. I can't stand it.
Girl,
You know what they did to us?
I can't do it.
You know what they did to us? My own family.
Yeah.
I got little white cousins, little white, you know, my aunt with her white boyfriends, and I just be looking at them like, she told me I was racist, because I joined the Nation of Islam when I was 22,
You're not racist enough.
right around the time, I'm not racist enough,
No. Your aunt, your cousin.
right around the time, that went over my head, I don't know what you're talking about.
She said that you're racist. She isn't racist enough.
I joined the Nation of Islam at 22.
The political term is nationalist, just so you know.
Okay.
It means you put your people before anyone else and anything else.
Then our people
Mhm.
need to be put before anyone else.
Mhm.
We're the sick people.
Well, we need to put
So,
ourselves
Make
before
a
anyone
com-
else.
If you make a comparison, make a what's the word? I can't think of the word. We're the sickest. So it's like we're dying from COVID, but we're gonna go help the baby whose nose is running.
Yeah.
First.
They got $75 billion for Ukraine,
Mhm.
yet we're still in the projects.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's because they're in charge.
Mhm.
They put themselves first. They care about their own interest, so they deal with their own interest. We keep caring about everyone else's interest except for our own.
And begging to be accepted by them.
Yes.
Our open enemy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be accepted by you. I want to go. I want to be here long enough to see our new nation.
Mhm.
I really do. Maybe it won't happen in my lifetime, but as long as we go that way. Because I am really tired of us, like, so I also made a point in group last night. On YouTube, maybe about 2 years ago, they showed a woman in a fast food place like Burger King or McDonald's. They were very careful not to show. I couldn't tell what kind of the name of the restaurant, but it was a fast food place like that. So the woman is in line. She's dancing in the line. She pulls her shirt off, and people start going. She's dancing, you know. She gets to the corner. She orders her food. Now she takes her pants off, you know. And next thing you know, this woman is on the table where you eat, ass naked, feet in the air like this, right? This woman, the way she came in the world, there was a group of men around her going like this. And another one would go like that. And there was, yeah, cheering her on, right? And people were getting up, walking out the restaurant. There was a few people in the back cooking who didn't even seem to notice what was happening. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, these are the men who are supposed to protect us.
Mm.
And last night I had a sweater tied around me. I said, Nobody couldn't do this. Come on, baby girl, let's go. Come on. You come with me. Here, you come with me. Come on, I'll give you a ride. Let's go. Because I was worried about what was going to happen when she left. Not one of those men did that. And we've been reduced. That's why they started calling us 3/5 of a human being, but we're beginning to act like. And she may have been on a drug or something, lost her mind, I don't know. But none of these men, not one could say, yo,
Like,
yo,
chill out.
like leave, like, nah, dude, like, no.
Right.
And nobody in the restaurant could cover her up. It just bothered me. Then there was another one. So this is what I'm talking about to the group. We have to be the ones to save ourselves. A woman on YouTube, she twerking in her panties. That's all she got on is panties. And she twerking. And she got a little boy like yours, but he's little. Her little boy was little, because he looked. And he said, Mommy, you have blood. So those two things that happened, somebody filmed it, and somebody posted it. And it bothers nobody but me. It bothered me. It still bothers me, and I saw the naked woman like 2 years ago, and the one with a little bit after that, so this is 2 years old. And I tell it to people, and I'm like,
It's sad.
it's painful. It's painful. Just like I said, I would rush that cop. You're not gonna kill another black man in front of me. Where is their love for us? Mr. Lynch made sure that he did a number on us. None of them black men should have been doing that. Why are you doing that? You don't know no better than that?
That's why.
That's so hurtful. I did something to you. I triggered you.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Because you're looking at me with that look.
Well, look.
It's a little disbelief or something?
No. I'm just taking in everything you're saying,
It just.
and I'm in agreement with you.
It's of course it's not on there now. It's out 2 years ago. But
Oh, it's probably still there.
I don't ever want to see that again.
Well, you should stay off of the internet then.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Well,
It's gotten worse.
Oh, it's worse. Y'all saying stuff worse than that?
I don't think
I mean,
I've seen anything.
That's like strip club stuff.
Yeah, I don't think but like in a restaurant, I don't think I've seen anything that bad, but I don't.
How are you
I
going
don't
to
want
be
to.
the mother of civilization doing that?
They're not.
And the one twerking on TV, why? But she'll be the first one to tell you, I want a real man. I want a man that loves me, who cares about me, who, will be my partner. I want, how you gonna get him when you present yourself as an animal?
Because they don't know that, like, when you talk about, like, they're programmed to do certain things,
Yep.
and some people are not, like, consciously aware of the things that they're doing sometimes, and the things that they're saying, and they literally have to reprogram themselves out
Yep.
of that and want to learn and be different, and even still, that's work that has to be done.
And there's some of our people who won't let you teach them. You try to have this conversation with them.
Oh, yeah.
There she goes.
Because they think that they're okay, and
And they see that it works for Cardi B, so they're like, oh, if it worked for Cardi B, she got famous and she got a husband and she's rich and
that's
she was
why-
twerking.
And that's why it worked for Cardi B.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, because some Jewish man decided, the same one that funds all these rappers who talk about how they can flip you up and down and all of that, what they can do to you, the same one, it's Jewish folks, and I'm not a Jew hater, but they're the ones with the money and they're the ones who control the industry. So they're the ones that pay for it. So you do a decent rap song, they're not funding that. Remember when KRS-One came out?
Mhm.
It was educated rap. What happened? Can you
He's
do
still
ed-
around.
Can you? I watch him.
Yeah.
Can you do educated rap now? Not and have it played on the radio. No.
Yeah, but again, that's following after idol gods of Rome. You want what your oppressor can offer you. That your oppressor can offer you all this fame and all this money that they print at will.
Peace
Hey,
and
my
blessings.
brother.
Peace.
Peace. How we doing?
Okay.
I just came to say hi.
Hi.
How's everything?
Good.
Everything is good.
Okay. I want you to meet my peoples from Queens
Okay.
and the artists, Eric B. and Rakim.
Where they at?
They here? Yeah.
Everything
She
is
got
right.
up.
Oh my God.
Hey, Eric B. and Rock.
You don't know Eric B. and Rakim?
I think I do.
Like hip hop legends? You don't know them?
Right. I feel like
They're getting assaulted.
Yeah, Rakim's not here, but Eric B. is here. So he's the main one.
Oh,
He's
stop.
coming right now.
Oh, can you get my phone? Get my phone. No, oh, they're getting
What's up,
assaulted.
Molly Mom?
What's up?
What's up with you, Cuzzo?
Hold on.
Nothing. Talking to Ye about more stuff.
Yep.
I'm live right now still.
Are you live?
Yeah, it's on. I'm on camera, not you.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm all good. How you feeling?
Come and see me, man.
I told Vanessa to tell you to call me when I come last week.
Last week you came,
Yeah, but you was in a meeting, and then my wife needed help with the baby, so I had to go back.
Bishop.
But the video has to stop
There we go.
for 1 second. Like, see,
Yeah, that's the other door.
You gotta stop it by the one.
Let me
Or- 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 or-